My guest on Anything is Possible this week is Ross the Boss. I'm loving your story because prior to starting the interview, you said, now there's one thing you ought to know. I'm not a hairdresser. Now I'm looking at my notes, 12 salon locations. You've been in the business for 30 plus years. And I'm thinking, I got to hear this story. So you're selling tennis shoes. You're moving all over the country. You're doing your thing. You're a great salesman. You've got those good Oklahoma roots that are soaked in work ethic. I'm trying to figure out how you get into this business.
Well, I was transferred from Oklahoma to Memphis, Tennessee, and I was right there on the 240 loop in a condo, and right in front of me was a barber shop. I'm traveling 5 days a week. I want to spend time with my family, so I got my hair butchered on Saturday morning when I was in town. And one day I walked in and there was a new guy and he wasn't busy. And I'm going, I don't care. So I cut my hair and he was fun. He was funny, he was entertaining, didn't look any better, but I really had a good time. And so anyway, his name was Sam. So I come back the next month and I'm getting my hair cut again, and I said, did you get promoted? You're in the front chair. He says, no, I bought the place. I'm going to change the name from Yorkshire Barbershop to Fantastic Sam's. What do you think? And so I watched Fantastic Sam's take that to $10,000 a week in that little barbershop in 1976, 77, someplace in there, I can't remember. And I saw him franchise all over my territory. And so I kept up with the franchisees. And one day he came to me and he said, you keep complaining about traveling all the time. I've got 2 bankrupt franchise stores in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'll sell them to you. I've already repossessed them. You move out there, take your family, get off the road. So I did.
What do you mean, so you did? Who does that? I mean, you hadn't been in this business. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it has to be harder than just, okay.
Well, I can make a testimonial here. It's kind of like I had to sell my house, but it worked out, and I gave him a down payment on the 2 stores. Salesmen sell 6 months in advance in the way I was working, so then I would have 6 more months of pay because the shipments were going to come in, and I didn't get paid till they got shipped until I got paid. So I had that good opportunity there.
Right.
I came to town, and they had a reputation for being a little friendlier than familiar. And so we tried to emphasize the family aspect of the business, and so everybody's welcome. And so that worked out well.
So you come take over these 2 bankrupt stores. Mm-hmm. You're not a hairdresser,
no.
And you want to build the stores. So how do you make that possible? I mean, what was the first thing you had to do?
Well, they say that if you're an owner, you can work half a day, any 12 hours you want. And maybe it was 14 or 16. But what happened was a couple of things. I told the staff I wanted them treated fairly. There were reports of some of the tips being pocketed by one of the previous managers, and of course some of the tickets being torn up, and that was back before all the computers and everything, right. And that was possible to do. And so I said, we're going to have a place that you're treated fairly. You may never get rich, but you're not going to worry about whether or not your check is going to come out. Also, the staff were on commission, and we changed it to a base salary plus commission because they weren't very good at budgeting their monies.
Right.
You know, so a big week they spend it, and a bad week they're starving. So we tried to level the playing ground for them and give them some idea on how to do it. My first ad was on the radio, and I wrote it, and Paul Oscar Anderson was going to read it. And it took about 1 minute and 15 seconds, and Paul took 2 minutes to read it. And I said, no, you've got to get it into a minute. He did it, I did it, and I'm like this, and I'm talking, but it talked really fast. And the ad came off, and they ran the ad on the radio, and people said, that was the worst ad I've ever heard. What's this rhyming stuff? My business went up 30%. And
wow.
So the ad was so unique that I kept doing the ads, and of course I'm only still 1 octave higher than I really speak for the most part when I do my ads, but we did the rhyming ads because they worked.
Now, where did you get your background for marketing and advertising? Because obviously that was a big part of you helping that franchise, but then you became Ross the Boss, and you have a penchant for marketing and advertising. Where'd you get that?
I think that it was a lot of experience that I had with the Boy Scouts and with the clothing business and with the pizza meat business and with the tennis shoe business. So I accumulated part of it. Plus, I was always fascinated by it. It was just a natural bent. I didn't study how to do a rhyme. There was Mad Jack and...
oh, yeah. Mad Jack used to jump off of buildings.
Well, I didn't want to be quite classified in that area, but
Right.
somebody once said that as long as you don't beat up somebody, murder somebody, or do something else bad, any publicity is good publicity because you have to break through the barrier of the attention.
Yeah, people do remember you. So when did you go from managing and franchising two Fantastic Sam's locations to becoming Ross the Boss?
Well, we were at about 7 locations, and they changed the rules. And what happened was that we were mid-upper price at the time, and they decided to go to economy, budget. And I said, well, no, these people are trying to have a life. They're trying to have a career. We offered health insurance, and we offered 401k and paid vacations and this type of thing, because we said we want to run a business that the people can spend a lifetime at and be able to retire from. And so he changed because he said people steal your clients. You can't trust the hairdresser. The thing is that one of the problems in the hair industry is that the stylist develops a relationship with the client and then goes down the street.
Right.
And so how do you ever make a profit if you keep losing your inventory? And so Sam said, if we have cheap prices, people will stay where the cheap prices are, and they won't follow the stylist. And I said, no, I want people of integrity. I want to treat them with integrity. And the thing is that I want to build a relationship for the long term. And I need to find people that are going to be that way. So he says, well, I don't know what you're going to do. I said, I tell you what, 3 others are suing you because you have changed the philosophy. I don't want to sue you. The scriptures say, get an agreement with your opponent,
right,
and don't go to the judge. Try to settle out of court.
Work it out.
So I drove to Memphis, Tennessee, and I sat down with my attorney and his attorney, and I said, what does it take to get out? He said, you can't get out. I said, the others are going to sue you. I don't want to sue you. I want out. What's it going to cost? And he said, a year's worth of royalties. And I said, over a year? He said, yeah. I said to my attorney, I said, do we have a deal? Well, you don't want this deal. I said, I want this deal. That's fair. I'll pay him a year's royalties over a year, and I'm out. And we shook hands, and that was the deal.
Wow. So now when we come back, you'll hear how he moved from being a Fantastic Sam to a Ross that is a boss. This is Anything is Possible.